a second here, we have Ryan Ellsworth. Ryan is an architect and urban dweller who relishes traveling to wild places. He enjoys photography, writing, and exploring. Please welcome Ryan, everybody.
Every year as August wanes on and Labor Day approaches, I begin to have the same regret, and that is that I wasted my summer. I didn't do enough biking, I didn't travel enough, I didn't drink enough beers on enough patios. So this is exactly the state of mind I was in last year when a challenge popped up on my Facebook feed called the 30-Day Rewild Challenge. The challenge itself was quite simple. Just be outside for a minimum of 30 minutes a day, every day in the month of September. Now, this was sponsored by a bit of a tree hugger group that's a little more granola than I prefer, but I was all in. This is what I needed to end my summer. In fact, I was so all in that I even pitched out the $20 for the extra extended package, which came with quotes, inspirational quotes to read and ponder every day while you were out on your own, and a scavenger hunt that included things like find a feather or find a rock that's bigger than you. But I didn't end there. I needed to make my own list because I'm a list maker and a planner. And so I made a list of Polk County parks I wanted to visit. I made a list of nature conservancy places I wanted to visit. I made a list of city parks and events and cultural, educational things to go to. And I pulled out my calendar and I made a complete list of every day of the month what I was going to do. Well, it turned out that I didn't really stick with that list very long. And it's not for any negative reason, it's just that I think I began to actually understand what the 30-day challenge was about, and it wasn't about marking things off of a list. I began to enjoy going outside. It was no longer just an effort to cross something off of a list every day. And so I sort of let the day decide what I was going to do, right? That's kind of the hippie thing to do, kind of go with the flow. So, you know, if I had a stressful day at work, maybe I just went and sat at a bird blind and watched some birds. Or if the sun was particularly beautiful that day, maybe I went to the prairie to see the late autumn prairie grasses. Two things that were not initially in my plan were photography and blogging, which, ironically, here I am to talk about my photo blog. For those of you that know me well, you know that I take a lot of photos and I post a lot of photos. There is a saying that says picture is worth 1,000 words, which I completely disagree with. Every time that I post a photo, I always have to add context and the story behind it and where it is and the date. And so I think it was pretty natural that eventually this was going to turn into some sort of blog, and it did very quickly because Facebook alone did not give me enough time to explain the story behind all of my photos. So I started the photo blog almost right away. Now the photography part of this was interesting because I'm only an amateur photographer. I don't claim to be a professional. And because of that, I am able to be an opportunist photographer, meaning that I have my camera with me, and if I see something I want to take a picture of, I take a picture. And if there's nothing worth looking at, I don't take a picture. Now, a professional photographer has an assignment, and they are told to go somewhere, and damn it, they'd better have a photo or they're not getting paid, right? Well, I set up this pattern of having to get a decent photo every day to post on the blog and talk about it. And so suddenly I felt this pressure to find a good photo every day, which is not always the easiest thing to do. I am a big fan of the prairie, but I went to a few walnut woods and a few different forest scenarios, and I think that trees are really boring. So to find a way to photograph a tree every other day for a month became very difficult. So I began to find ways to take pictures of details, like maybe an oak or an acorn on the ground, or the spines of a honey locust tree. Or I played with color, black and white, exposure, you know, all these tools that we have in photography to make things interesting despite what's in the photograph. So I think in the end, these photos are in no particular order, and I have no idea where I am time-wise. In the end, though, you know, I expected to really have some sort of amazing conclusion at the end of the 30 days, and I really didn't. Like, it was really more of opening a door than checking things off a list and being done with it. And I think that is probably the thing that I am most happy to have taken away from this, is that you don't have to make a big plan. You don't have to plan a vacation. You don't have to take a day or 2 or 7 off to go and find beautiful places and wild places and nice things to take photographs of. You can go, you know, I live downtown. I spent one day just walking up and down the river, and I got some great photos, which there's one of them. That's at the, see, I timed that perfectly. That's at the Chinese pavilion there along the Des Moines River. So I guess in the end, really my point is that here I thought I was going to cross all these great Iowa spots off of my list in 30 days, when in fact the list just grew every day. And so even 30 days isn't enough time to see everything. And a month isn't enough time. A year isn't enough time. And so for anyone that tells you that you need to go to the mountains, or you need to go to the ocean, or you need to make these long, extravagant vacations to find beautiful things and be in the wilderness, it's just not true. We've got it all right here in Iowa.